Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back. So, somebody from the community recently said that they need a infantry guide. I made one for artillery because I am an artillery main. Now, infantry for me has just been a pass. So, if there are mistakes in this, please be lenient because I'm not an infantry main. What I have is sample set of data that different players from within this game have given to me, and I thought, okay, maybe this thing goes with this hero, and that is something I'm representing to you right now. Now, this is the thought process of most of you players, and that is what I am using because I'm not an infantry main, so I can't really give a 100% verdict of what combination is good or what combination is bad, because even the research on my infantry is really bad. So starting out from heroes, I would say the most compulsory hero you need to have in your infantry setup is Medelia. This is your main damage dealer. Now it says buff and support, but Medelia does a lot more than that. She does bring healing and stuff, but I've seen people run Medelia, they run Magni, and then they run Ingrid. Now the other two are defense types. So Medelia, it falls to her to do the damage, and keeping that formation in mind, that is something you need to build the M gear towards. But the skill wise, you can see that this is pretty much decent damage. So it's damage absorption and giving damage out, which makes her a pretty good hero. So some people also came to me saying that, hey, Bonnie has been buffed now and maybe she's really good. Maybe do you think she's worth investing in? And personally, I think not. The whole issue with Bonnie was this: her fourth skill, max voltage. So when you look at the skill, you can see that both armies, it means yours and the enemy's, needs to lose at least 40% of its unit types. So it is only under that condition that this is going to trigger. And since it's not going to trigger every time, it's like a situational hero. Even though the buff is good, I don't think Bonnie is like an artillery killer. Cuta is a better option if you're going against artillery. So if you don't have Magni, just put in a Cuta and you're fine. You don't need to be putting in Bonnie. So for people that are like on the lower end of free-to-play side, you could go with the Cuta, you could go with Violet, and you could go with Medelia. Focus your hero mementos on Medelia, and you'll have their maxed. And then in Season X, once you get Ingrid, you replace Violet with Ingrid and you have a good setup. So hero wise, that works. Now for Medelia, you go in the leadership matrix. Now I'm going to talk about leadership matrices because I think I've talked about the heroes, the hero lineups and stuff, but the perfect hero lineup for infantry, I'd say, are two that are running these days. One is Magni, Medelia, and Ingrid. So this is the base lineup people are using. For people that don't have a maxed out Magni, they're using Cuta, Medelia, and Ingrid, and it works just fine. Now for the leadership matrix, okay? So for Medelia, you need to be using Rage Directive Array. Remember, we are building her as the main damage dealer for your composition, for your setup. The other two are going to be the tanks. Because infantry is high on defense, you still need somebody to be doing the damage. We are going to use Medelia on that role. For the other two, I'd say Ingrid, you must go with War Shelter. Her skills are tailored towards bringing you troops and which is like a passive healing. So the War Shelter gives more of that. She has one stun. Aside from that, she's giving combat speed. So Ingrid is a must, I think, so you actually have decent combat speed as well. You don't need combat speed M gears on your infantry setup though. For infantry M gears, I'll show you what you need. But yeah, you need to put her in War Shelter. If you are using Q-Type, she goes with Restraint Directive Ray, because this one is 100% an artillery killer. She always has been. The disarms are brutal, and that's how she is used. For Magni, if you have a Magni that's decently sized mean you need to have this last bit of leadership matrix, which I am missing. So mine is not decently sized, because this skill trigger chance, it's super important. So Magni uses covered directive array, and a 50% skill trigger, if you have a 100% leadership matrix, will ensure that he pops off the impervious shields and you have even more defense going on. Magni is the most suited to infantry units, and that is when he shines the most. So that's the hero leadership matrix covered. So for M gears, let's go to Medelia first. Okay, so I have purple M gears because I am not infantry main, so I never bothered with it. But basically on this weapon, what you need is skill attack and skill penetration for Medelia. Remember, we are building her only as the damage dealer. For this, you need skill damage, increase all damage dealt. For this, you need hold on, let me show you on another hero. I think I have a better M gear. So you need the skill resist stat. Still, you need the other one. Hold on. So from all of these, I'd say skill defense and skill resist on the armor, even on the damage dealer, is important. And in the last one, I'd say maybe put in 1 combat speed if you can. Even if you can't, or if you don't have combat speed, on Medelia, either of these 2 on the bottom are fine. And a skill defense or skill offense. So on Medelia, we will go with skill attack, because we are building her as the main damage dealer. Now it's going to be the opposite for the other 2 heroes. For example, Ingrid, she needs to have stats like either of these 2 are fine on the weapon, and this skill penetration one is good. Even reduced damage received on infantry is really good if you have this on Ingrid. I'd say it's better than the skill penetration because you are going for defensive stats. You're not going for attack stats. Then on the backpack, I'd say you need reduced damage received as the first one, and reduced damage received as the second one. On the armor, you need skill resistance and you need skill defense. These are the best 2 stats you could have. On the boots, you need a skill defense. Combat speed is okay, it's good if you have it. If you don't, reduce damage received is really good. So that's the defensive build M gear we are going to go for in our infantry. The same goes for Magni. You need to build him on defense, and that pretty much covers the M gear. Now let's go to the T frame, right? Which T frame is best suited to infantry? In my opinion, it's either Infinite Glory or it's Godfall. Either of these 2, because this one is defense frame, so you're getting more defense stats. This is Conquest and Survival, and Infantry by default is a good survival setup. Even when you lose your battle to somebody, your whole units don't really end up dying in the battle. So that is an interesting aspect of infantry. For the SYP benchmark, I'd say it's still 96. You still could use the 100 combat speed, especially against other tank mains or such. So that's still the same benchmark. And as for the Meteorite Lab, this is the one. So you need to have these 3 maxed. Then you need to have this anti-suppressant resistance, which is reducing the damage taken from tank marches. You need to have this maxed. You need to get this one, infantry defense, and you need to get this one, infantry basic defense. So both of these stats should put you up on a pretty good thing. This is flat 25% damage reduction if it triggers, so it's a pretty good one if you can get it up to 30. But even 1 level of it has a 10% chance of triggering which is something interesting if you're looking for that. So most infantry mains, they go for the cerebral amplifier, I think that is what it's called, and they go for this. Now it's the same concept I gave you in the artillery setup thing. I went for the galactic resonator because I've noticed in battlefields people just tend to not help you at all. In the season map, you would still get help from the whales inside your alliance. If you're in a good alliance, you would get help from other players, but in any battlefield map, they're just going as, you know, every man for himself. I don't care about you, that kind of mentality. So galactic resonator, I'd say, is something that you should look into. This is going to take you a lot of time anyway, so having this is not a bad thing. So that is it for the infantry stuff. I know this video was not as long as the artillery video because I had more knowledge of artillery, but let's see. I do have a marked, you know, setup here of one of the players who is in TSS. Now this guy is a good example. Look, he's using Ingrid, he's using Magni, and he's using Medelia. Medelia would be his main damage dealer. You can see that he has these attack type M gears on her, and on the other ones he must be using defense type M gears. So reduce received physical damage, he is going for an anti-artillery setup, I think. This one, look, reduced damage received, just like I told you guys. You should be focusing on reduced damage received. This piece is not even the armor piece. This is the backpack. So like I said, the more of the damage reduction you have on your infantry, the more broken it gets. And that's something you need to focus on for two heroes, and you make Medelia your main damage dealer. That's it. That's the whole science behind the infantry stuff. One extra tidbit of information is that you can get a free skin from here. This is perhaps a gift from the devs to all the infantry mains out there. I feel like infantry is the most coddled in Nexus War for some reason. You get free stuff all the time. Even from fishing, you're getting a skin. From here, you're getting a free skin if you can grab the 20,000. So you already have a decent advantage over the other two march types, I think. Its drawback is that infantry is the most slowest to move on the map. It moves slow, so you just need to time your marches and you should be fine. That is it. That is all that I can tell you about infantry. Hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you around.